Welcome to the Avanti Women and Panasonic speaker series. Here we're going to interview one of our members and discover her recipe for success. This month's theme is setting career and life goals. Let's welcome our Avanti Women member, Karlyn Percil-Mercieca. Hi, darling.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're very excited. I would love to start by hearing a little bit about, who you are and what you do for fun.
Fun. So let's start with who I am. So my name is Karlyn, as you said, Karlyn Percil-Mercieca. I'm the creator and founder of SisterTalk Group, and it's a women's leadership network where we help women optimize the leadership skills and find the purpose in life.
Nice.
Yes.
That's great.
And for fun, I like hanging out with women and just having conversations that matter about life and love and discovering what makes us great, what makes us wonderful.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. And so in your journey on starting the Sister Talk, we understand there's been some accolades and some lessons learned, maybe some contact with Oprah. Can you maybe share that with us? I know a lot of our members would love to know, what was the journey to get to Oprah? Like, we'd really love to hear that.
Yes, and sometimes it's a bit surreal, because, people ask, you've been on Oprah? And I'm like, yes. And when I think back in terms of how that all came about, it actually started on Bay Street, on my journey in the corporate world and, defining my own professional success. I found that I got to a point where I wasn't happy at work. And I was constantly striving for that. What is it I'm here to do? Why am I here? Why am I not feeling that fulfillment at work? Even though I had this perfect little, checkbox, I was ticking off all my accomplishments, I'm doing good work, right? But there was that feeling, that void of, something's missing. And that journey, when I started down that rabbit hole, and you know what they say about Pandora's box, the minute you open it, you can't go back.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, you don't know what might come up as well.
Right.
And that led me to a soul search of what I call my elephant story, and not coming to terms with not feeling confident in terms of where I am and who I am, not owning my success, which is where the imposter syndrome came in about as well. And what happened was, that whole journey led me to discovering Dr. Brené Brown, which I call her she's my BFF. She doesn't know that, but we're besties. In my head, of course, but we're besties.
Of course.
And her work on vulnerability and shame literally transformed my life. It changed the way I lead, it changed the way I love, and it changed the way I lived. And because I loved her so much, I talked about her a lot. I blogged about her, I tweet about her, I tell all my friends,
nice.
Go get her book, Daring Greatly, go get her book, Gifts of Imperfections. And OWN actually saw one of my tweets. And they messaged me and they said, we're thinking about bringing her on Super Soul Sunday, what do you think? And that was it. And
Fantastic.
I went bananas. I was like, I love her. You need to have her on. And then they invited us to be a part of the show.
That's great.
Yeah.
So did you actually meet Oprah, or was it on that virtual?
It was on that virtual.
Yeah.
We Skyped. So we Skyped. We actually ended up doing 3 shows, and we Skyped from Toronto. But the great thing was that before they actually started the live class, Oprah spoke to us from backstage. So we had a good 2-minute conversation with Oprah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and also Brené Brown. So it was really great meeting both Oprah and Dr. Brené Brown, 2 women I greatly admire and who actually are responsible for pivotal transformational moments in my life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about the resources that you perhaps use as a successful woman, and what kind of resources, go-to websites or apps that you're using that we'd love to share with the Avanti Women members around additional resources.
Right. So I love reading. I'm kind of like a little bit of a nerd, reading nerd, if that's such a thing. I don't know.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
I love books.
Yeah.
I love books.
Good.
So I call them my virtual mentors, and I have 5 main ones that I always go back to. So it's Brené Brown is one of them in terms of vulnerability and reconnecting to my authentic self. So her books, and she have a lot of courses online as well. And actually, she just launched a very great program called Courage Works as well. So there's some pretty great resources on there. Robin Sharma is another one, leader, the author of Leader Who Had No Title.
Yes.
I love his philosophy on leadership and being epic and being great and being exceptional in everything that we do. So he's another mentor of mine. Tony Robbins. Love Tony Robbins.
Excellent.
Love his message, about having massive action results and just being consistent in terms of your gifts and what you bring into the world every day. Also, of course, Oprah. Who doesn't love
Right,
Oprah?
yeah.
Oprah is,
Yeah, we've all
the
got
mother
that.
of, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
So there are lots of great resources and tools on her website as well. And Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
That
Classic.
it's a classic. And I keep going back to it, and I keep reading his messages and applying some of his philosophies in my life. And also I have some of my own tools, I developed as well based on the success principles from these leaders who I admire and who I learn from. I've also designed different tools such as the permission slip, because women sometimes we hold ourselves back.
Yeah, I
right?
saw that on your website. What a clever idea.
Yeah, so it's just to give us that written, and again, because we operate from our subconscious a lot, it's important for us to get out of that space so we can really do what we're meant to do and what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And another tool that I use that I love is also the commitment statement as well, is what are you committed to? Sometimes life gets in the way and we waver on our goals, and we sometimes, again, hold ourselves back. So writing a commitment statement solidifies it, and it gives it more meaning, and it makes it more impactful. And it's kind of like signing a contract with yourself as well. So that also, makes it come a little bit more alive and puts more meaning around it. And the number one tool, which I recently released as well, is the Success Planner.
So in terms of your success, how would you define success? What does that mean to you?
Success. I define success as living a fulfilled life on your own terms and being able to have the courage to follow that path, wherever it might lead you. To me, that is success. Yeah. And we can do that wherever we are, whether it's at home, whether it's at work. I love the idea of Arianna Huffington and Thrive and redefining success to include wonderment, well-being, because the current definition of success in terms of just looking at money and power, it's not sustainable. Right? And, so many women are stressed trying to attain that very, unattainable definition of success, that you find that oftentimes we end up falling into the bracket of failure and feeling like, we can't accomplish anything, and we beat up on ourselves. So for me, when I think of success, I love the idea of having everybody redefine success based on your own values, on your own terms, focus on what matters to you the most, and make that your definition of success and have the courage to follow it as well.
So if you could be one superhero or heroine, who would you be?
One superhero. Oh my gosh, that's a tough one. I have so many favorites. But I think I would be... Have you seen The Incredibles?
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the mom.
Yeah.
But
Supermom. Let's just
Supermom.
call her Supermom. Yeah, there we go.
Supermom.
Oh yeah, you're Superwoman anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I would be Supermom. Yeah,
That's amazing.
That'll be my superhero. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So if you had to really just, in a nutshell, wrap up for us, what is your recipe for success? How you got to where you are today with Sister Talk and being a part of the Oprah journey, and just with your growth and development. Let's hear what your recipe for success was.
My recipe for success, it starts with a vulnerability, because I think the path that I have taken would not have happened if I did not reconnect on the inside. I think success starts with knowing who you are and having the courage to listen to those little voices that come up, because it's one thing to know who you are and to get that that nod in terms of what's next, but having the courage to follow it is equally important as well. So for me, is first, know who you are, be brave enough to go inside, find out what you want, ask for what you want. It might get a little bit messy, and that's okay. Cry if you have to. Call on your girlfriends, call on your friends who will be able to support you through that journey, but start there. That is where your truth lies. And once you do that, the rest will come into play. And just be present. I use mindfulness a lot as one of my most effective, or I guess my most powerful tools that I use, because being mindful allows you to focus on what's present, and it also brings to light what matters the most, because we can't do it all.
Very true. We can't do it all. You're absolutely right.
All,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So start with vulnerability. Go inside. Listen to what what comes up for you. Have the courage to follow it, and just flow with life. Be mindful and choose what matters the most to you.
Well, that's fantastic. And since today is about setting career and life goals, what would be some of the things you would do to keep yourself organized when you're doing that?
Well, I always say to focus on, start with what matters to you the most. So I encourage women to take a look at using the 5 success principles. So whether it's personal, professional, health and wellness, family and financial, take a look at what matters to you the most in that current month. Because sometimes we're women, we get a little bit ahead of ourselves and we try to plan for the entire year.
So true.
Right?
Yes.
And as you know, life happens.
Yes.
Right? Just for personally for me, like for last month, I had so many great things planned for my professional side of my goals, and somebody fell sick in the family. So that right there, that became my priority for the month. So I think it's giving ourselves permission to reassess
Yes.
and to review and to just reprioritize our goals as life happens. I think we will ease into our goals a little bit better if we do that, and then it becomes less stressful as well.
Yeah. So
Right.
if I'm hearing you correctly, then are you saying that for us to be that recipe for success, that maybe we should have both personal and professional goals, or are you
Yes.
saying?
Oh, yes. You can't have one without the other because you're you. I'm one person. So when I go to work, I take a look at my goals for the day, for the week, and for the month. And it includes both my personal and my professional goals because life happens. And yes, I might be in the office today and I'm here from like 8 until 5 and I have a list of professional things to do, but what if your daughter falls sick, or maybe your husband needs you, or your mom needs you, or maybe you fall sick? Then what happens? Then your personal goals becomes a priority. I think it's important for us to integrate, because I think the work-life balance doesn't exist, but if we look at it as work-life integration, then it becomes easier for us to ease into it. And again, don't make it a stressful because it can become really stressful.
Right.
Because we think that we have to do it all. We think that we need to keep all the balls in the air all at the same time, and it's just not possible for us to do that. So having both your personal and professional goals at the table on your planner at the same time is important, and then you just choose what matters the most, choose what's the burning priority, and then you use that and you focus on it.
Okay. And so how would you say then, how do you hold yourself accountable when you're, when you get off track, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you bring yourself back? Like,
Yeah.
you're the expert in goal setting, so I'm really interested in hearing what advice you have on this.
Yeah, and you know what? And we do fall off. That's the thing, we do. But it's important for you to have an accountability partner. It's important for us to, and that person should not be one of your friends who's like, oh, it's okay, I understand, it's okay. Yes, you need somebody with empathy who understands, but you need somebody who will also hold you accountable and will ensure that you do meet your goals at the end of the week or at the end of the month. And that's why I like having a monthly review as well, because it makes it a little bit more fluid, and you're able to go in and out and reassess and realign accordingly based on what's happening in your life. So an accountability partner is huge, and that person can be, and you can have different accountability partners as well. So for your professional goals, you can have an accountability partner who could be a mentor, or it could be a sponsor, it could be somebody in work or outside of work. Same thing for your personal goals. For example, for my physical goals under my health and wellness, for the gym, I have this other friend who goes to the gym with me, 3 times a week. So
Nice.
if I don't go, she's like, hey, I didn't see you, we're going tomorrow, right? But for my financial goals, then I have somebody else who holds me accountable to that. So it's also okay to have different accountability partners for different goals as well. And it's important to share it with your loved ones as well. So, whether you have a husband, a wife, or a loved one, share your goals with somebody who's close to you, because then they know what matters to you the most. Then they know what's important to you. And they too will help you to stay on track as well.
That's fantastic
Yeah.
advice. So I want to thank you again for coming out today, and for all our members, Karlyn did a great job in sharing with us what we could do for some good tips there. I love the accountability component, and definitely your success planner. So we would love to thank everyone for joining us today, and please follow us at www.avantiwomen.com, or follow us at #AW Recipe for Success.